Story number 9, A Nerd's Hope. That's right, everybody. Time for a story about the greatest story ever told, Star Wars. Yeah. At age 18, I was a senior in high school, and I was a Star Wars master. While other kids were out drinking beers and dating chicks, I was co-teaching a Star Wars section in my world history class. I was literally assigning my peers Star Wars homework, and I was figuratively killing it. And kids were coming up to me, in the hallway, not to beat me up, but to challenge me to Star Wars trivia contests. I remember one day Jack Mann steps up to me, "Yo, James, what's the name of the volcanic planet where Darth Sidious sends a separatist council?" So, "Are you kidding me, Jack? Mustafar." So I come back at Jack, "Yo, Jack, how many guns were there in the trench during the attack on the first Death Star?" "Oh, I don't know. That's what I thought, bitch. About 20. Some on the surface, some on the towers, to quote Gold 5. That conversation actually happened in my life. So, like I said, at age 18, I was a Star Wars master and a pretty promising apprentice in virginity. But one does not just become a Star Wars master at 18. Like the Jedi Council knows, that's far too old to begin the training. So I, like all Padawan learners, began my studies as a youngling. And I was studying and training during elementary school like hard. Every Saturday night at my local comic book shop, creatively named Comics. Because Saturday night at Comics was Star Wars trading card night. My night. Not to be confused with Friday night. Friday night is Magic the Gathering card night. That's for fucking losers. Saturday night, Star Wars card night, that's where the cool cats hang out, And as I choose to remember it, nobody was cooler than me and my boy Jared Ballou. See, Jared was the one who first brought me into the beautiful world of Star Wars trading cards. And he knew even more about Star Wars than I did, because Jared had this older, just fantastically nerdy brother, Neil, who schooled him up. So Jared was like coming out of Star Wars prep school. Just great pedigree, so groomed, so polished. I, on the other hand, only had older sisters who didn't teach me shit about Star Wars. So I was like this orphan Star Wars nerd. But Jared took me out of the cold and the rain and gave me like a formal Star Wars education. But I always kept my street Star Wars instincts. And I used those every Saturday night at Comics, just straight hustling kids out of their best cards. I had this racket I pulled all the time, and with no time with more just clinical precision than my best friend, Mike Miller. See, Mike, not wanting to miss out on the cultural revolution that was Star Wars trading cards, buys his very first pack. And in it, he finds motherfucking Chewbacca. Like, are you kidding me? That is a rare top-tier card that I did not have yet. So I go to work with my patented 3-step approach. First, I offer Mike like a hodgepodge of just like shitty, commonplace cards. And I start convincing him that they're worth as much as his rare Chewbacca, So I'm working, like coming at it from different angles and shit. And he starts seeing, my way of viewing the world a little bit. Then just bam, step 2. I sweeten the pot with a sexy, but still pretty commonplace card like an advanced TIE fighter or something. Or like, if I'm really desperate, like maybe like a second-tier bounty hunter's weapon like IG-88's plasma cannon or whatever. But, so, now I'm like reeling this whale in, And then I just close with my patented step 3 closing line. I just go, "Oh, Mike, like, shit, I don't know anymore, man. Like, I feel like you're starting to rip me off here. Like, I guess if you still want to do this trade, then fine, I'm in." Now, if that sounds dumb to you, that's because you're adults. But amongst 4th graders, I was like the nerd's Gordon Gekko. So Mike cracked, they all did, Chewbacca was mine. And I know what you're thinking now. You're like, "Damn, James, your best friend? That's colder than standing out on Hoth with a glass of blue milk." And I'm like, yeah, that is pretty cold. And shit, like nice Star Wars metaphor, by the way. Like the Hoth pull is pretty obvious, but the blue milk edition really gives it some body. So yeah, it's cold, right? But I put the card to good use 2 years later. In the 6th grade, I was competing in a Star Wars trivia contest on the Oldies 100.3 radio station. So yeah, Oldies and Star Wars, the contraceptive double down. And live on air, the DJ asked me, he goes, "Oh, James, how old is Chewbacca?" And if you had the card like I did, and Mike momentarily did, then you'd know Chewbacca is estimated to be 200 years old. I got the question right, shocker. Now, that radio contest was a high point for me, but I fully peaked around that same time in the 6th grade. Yes. It was just another Saturday night at Star Wars at the comic book shop. And it was ending like all the rest with a raffle, where one and only one lucky nerd in attendance wins a free pack of Star Wars cards. And there was a strong turnout that night, so odds of success were low. Like, now I know how Wedge Antilles must have felt during the briefing before the Battle of Yavin 4. Nailed it! Oh man, it means, like, they had to go blow up the Death Star. It was like the space station the size of a small moon. It was gonna be really hard. Anyways, it means the odds of me winning are low, okay? But lo and behold, I bullseye the Womp Rat, my number's selected, I get a free pack of cards. And I have a choice ahead of me, because Star Wars is such like a rich, complex universe that there are many different genres of cards you can select from. So I can get a Dagobah System pack, Hoth pack, Yavin 4 pack, and on and on and on. But all the geeks there in attendance are screaming at me in this one unified, asthmatic voice, just going, "Cloud City, James! Cloud City! Cloud City!" And even the helicopter moms in attendance are chiming in. Like, "Cloud City, you idiot!" Like, of course I'm getting the Cloud City pack. I'm not some nerf herder. Like, it was the newly released expansion set of cards, so nobody had the rare ones yet. So I get the Cloud City pack, and I open it up as the room, everybody in comics just begins to circle in around me, just breathing their anxious nerd breath on me. And I begin carefully scanning the cards one by one. And okay, got a mouse droid, landing pad 474. Shit, this is all garbage. Okay. Lobot, okay, Lobot's pretty cool. I do like Lobot, but really everybody knows this doesn't matter. None of this matters because it's all about the last card in the pack, the 9th card in the pack, because that is always the rare card. And there's like a huge range and awesomeness of the rare cards. This will make or break my pack. So I get to the last card, and it's Boba Fett.